just 3 more to go. Hello, Commanders. Automatic Gamer here, and today I'm going to be predicting and breaking down the NFC West, the division, in my opinion, that gave Tom Grossi all of his favorite dreams of the 49ers always beating the Packers in the playoffs. Man, that movie is always so good and so fun to watch. Jokes aside, I'm going to break down the division, and I'm going to start out with, the San Francisco 49ers, and oh gosh, I do not know how to judge these guys because last year, 6-11 record, and oh, I don't know, I don't know how to judge them because of all the injuries. Brock Purdy got hurt. Their starting quarterback. They had injuries on their O line. Some of their wide receivers were down. Some of their defense was down. And well, that this offseason, they've been trying to just sort of like pick themselves up from where they were last season into where they are now. Because in the draft, they got their first round. They went defense with Michael Williams on their defensive line, which is, I think that's a great move. And they kept on going, adding to that defensive line, and also adding to the trenches with their secondary and some on their offensive side of the ball for protection for Brock Purdy. And I think they also might have also gotten some wide receivers or some running backs. So they're going to be hopefully better in their stability to move and actually run the ball and hopefully get some yards going for them. So for the 49ers, I can actually see them maybe making some more progress than they were last year because last year it didn't really go so good with all the injuries. So I didn't really want to judge them that fully because of all the injuries with their QB. Some of their O-line was down. Their defense and their secondary got demolished by injuries and everything like that. So they didn't really put up like much or crazy yards at all for that season. But the only thing I liked about the 49ers is what happened with the Vikings in week 2, because that game, in my opinion, was a lot of fun. And I'm sorry, Richie, for saying that, but week 2 was a lot of fun, and I really wish we could have played you guys again, maybe this season, but I know that's not going to happen. But all jokes aside, I just want the 49ers to hopefully do well this season. They're probably my favorite team in the NFC West, even though there is one other team that may be a little bit better than you guys. Sorry to say that, but also I'm going to get to them in a minute. And if the 49ers can, along with these draft picks, improve on their defense and what they did in free agency, if they can, after they lost some pieces in free agency and everything like that, hopefully in the draft they can clear up these missing markers here and there, kind of like rebuild what they had in their defense and in their secondary, and hopefully get actually abilities to move the ball and run, especially with Brock Purdy as quarterback, because I think he can be a very, very good quarterback, and I think he is their guy after being Mr. Irrelevant for years and years and years after being their third string that they originally had. So I could actually see the 49ers making some improvements and hopefully maybe not contending to win the division, but maybe coming in second or third place and maybe clinching a playoff spot, perhaps in the wild card. But I mean, you never know, because I don't really want to judge them off all of their injuries that they had last season. And now I'm going to mention everyone's favorite underdogs in the NFC West, the Arizona Cardinals. Now, for the Cardinals being an underdog team, that has happened for the past, I have no idea how long it's been, but it's been plenty of years that people are saying, like, oh, this can be the Cardinals' year for Kyler Murray. He's looking very, very well. And I know last season with the draft, of course, last season they hyped up Marvin Harrison Jr. and being like, oh yeah, he's going to be our star wide receiver. He's going to be our guy. And then they were in the lead in the division like a while, and then saying, oh, we're a potential playoff team. This is going to be good. And then, they lose to the Panthers in the last week of the season, and they were eliminated from playoff contention. So if they can make some improvements like they did in the draft, going with defense with their first pick with Walter Nolan, and also getting some defensive players from the Eagles, which is great, and also improving on their not only in their defense but their interior defensive line and in their secondary, and also improving on their offense so Kyler Murray cannot just run for his life, so he can actually run and move the ball as much as he needs to any of his running backs and especially to his wide receivers. So yeah, for the Cardinals, they could maybe still be the underdog team in the NFC West, but I don't know. I mean, could it still be them, the underdog team, or are they going to go on a run and make it to the postseason promised land? That is something that is, well, still to be determined as we maybe we'll find out week one, but who knows? But that's the Arizona Cardinals, always the underdog team, one of the underdog teams in the NFL. Sometimes they can be fun to watch, though, especially with Kyler Murray as QB, because I think Kyler Murray, he is a good quarterback, and he can be their guy, I'm thinking. And for their wide receiver, Marvin Harrison Jr., who they got last season, I think he's going to do, he didn't, well, he had a good year last year, but I think he's going to maybe get more targets for one of their best offensive weapons on their team, and also maybe picking up more yards will help you make them improve and get them to potentially have a better record, perhaps a winning record. That may be too much to say, but that is the Arizona Cardinals. But yeah, and next I'm going to be talking about the Seattle Seahawks, and the Seahawks not well, they were an interesting team last year, but well, not the best, I was gonna say, because well, last year 10-7, some people said we should have made the postseason, and they were like, oh, we're just in the middle and we can improve from here. But yeah, that was the fan base last year with saying like we could have made the playoffs, but then we can also like build on where we were last year into this year, and I can understand it like that. And well, while finishing up with a 10-7 record, that is respectable. And yes, you could have made the postseason and potentially clinching a wild card spot, which would have been good for your team and also your fan base. Obviously, trading away Geno Smith as he goes to the Raiders, moved on from DK Metcalf, he goes to the Steelers, so make Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers a little bit happier. And of course, they brought on Cooper Kupp from the Rams and also Sam Darnold from the Minnesota Vikings, which is fine. They were like saying Sam Darnold like actually your guy, because the Vikings we were able to actually get some power out of Sam Darnold and actually able to resurrect him to be a good quarterback. But I'll talk more about that when I get to the NFC North predictions video. And yeah, for Sam Darnold and also Cooper Kupp, I really do like those signings for their team, because it could make them a better team. And well, I do believe that Geno Smith he could have been, if he was still on the team, is he a better choice than Sam Darnold for quarterback? And I'm not certain about that, because both quarterbacks can be good, even though Sam Darnold isn't the most like mobile QB. If he's like in a pocket and he's getting pressured, like you saw with that Rams game last year with the Vikings, because he was just running for his life. And of course, the Seahawks are working on addressing those issues, especially with their first overall pick being Zabel, being a guard that they got in the first round, and also adding to their offensive line, and also adding a few wide receivers there, and also adding some defense and help in the secondary. So they're doing pretty well in terms of a rebuild and restructure, especially with everything that they have been doing. So I would see the Seahawks potentially what they've lost and what they've all gained, with especially with Sam Darnold, Cooper Kupp being the big two signings for their team. I could see them potentially maybe winning record and maybe second or third place within in the division, perhaps some magic can happen and you can clinch a playoff or a wild card spot. Maybe, but also if Sam Darnold isn't your guy, well, the good news is also in the draft you drafted on Jalen Norrell, which is great, so he can learn behind Sam Darnold, and potentially the year after this year he could be, when he learns behind him, he could be your new quarterback. Like if Sam Darnold didn't work out, Jalen Norrell, who they drafted, he could be your next quarterback. Like if something went wrong. So that's another great move to do if you're a Seahawks fan. You're probably pretty happy on what's going on. And yeah, they're going to be a very interesting team this year, especially with of how their rebuild has gone from where they were at the end of last season to where they are now at the start of this season that is going to be in a couple weeks here. And finally, we have the LA Rams, who, first of all, traded up out of the first round, not really surprised. And they went with a defensive tackle for their first pick, which is a great choice because while they did have a great year last year and kind of a shocker for most fans of the Rams, and well, Matthew Stafford, obviously, there's some issues with him, but he'll probably be back to full strength and full power as soon as the season starts for the Rams. And of course, the big signings for them was not only bringing in all those defensive guys and also help for their secondary and also some on their offensive line so he can have protection and also maybe more people and weapons to throw the ball to, which is going to be great in their run game and passing. And also maybe adding, I think they added a running back as well. I could have been wrong. Yeah, so for the Rams, I like their moves that they did. So they could potentially win the division, I think, in my opinion, because I think they might be a better team than the 49ers, even though I think that is weird to say. But also, one of the big signings that they did was, besides getting rid of Cooper Kupp, they still have Puka Nacua, and he is a very, very good player and a nice weapon at wide receiver for Matthew Stafford. And they also got Devontae Adams from the Raiders. So, Devontae Adams, you're on a better team, and also the Raiders, they most likely won't be able to hurt you anymore. So that's a really interesting and fun signing for them. So I'm interested to see how this division is going to unfold with all these signings between all these teams that have happened between last season, the offseason, and where they are now in terms of what they did in free agency and in the draft. So it's going to be interesting seeing how everything unfolds in the NFC West, because you might have two teams or potentially three competing for perhaps a playoff spot, or two teams competing for the division. And potentially it could be a shocker with the Cardinals if they are, of course, the underdog team that everyone always says they are, if it's going to be a good year for them or not. So anyway, that's my thoughts on the NFC West. If you want to talk more about football, just subscribe to my channel and join my Discord. The NFL season is only a couple weeks away, so can't wait to break down the rest of the divisions in more videos. And also the scheduling for all NFL games has been released just a little bit ago, so I'll go over that in a future video. So subscribe and also join my Discord, and see you on the Battlefield Commanders and also the NFL field.